Hello, everybody. I'm Tom Vassell, and today we have...
I'm Melissa Makak.
That's correct. Melissa, if you haven't seen, has been doing videos for the Dice Tower for the past, 6 months. Sound right?
Yeah, probably.
Alrighty.
Since I think September.
Well, if you haven't been watching those folks, you should. Fantastic. And how to teach a game, basically, which a lot of us need a lot of help with. Even those of us who teach quite a few games. Welcome to the Dice Tower, folks. This is our daily evening chat. This is kind of just us and you. I know a lot of people are stuck at home, so we're going to do these until that's lifted, which could be a long time. So this is supposed to be a time of positivity, and we're going to just have some, talking back and forth. So we're going to get started here. We're mostly just answering questions. So you have questions for myself, Melissa, or both. Here's your chance to ask. And mostly people are just saying hi at this point. Does my jug of water get the seal of approval or seal of excellence? Seal of excellence because water is good. And most people are saying hello to Melissa, which is good.
Hello.
Is that Will Wheaton in the background? It is not. It is not Will Wheaton. All right. Well, still people are talking. So here's a new game I'll show people while we're waiting. I just got in the mail called Zoned Out. It's from Gray Fox. I don't know anything about this one, actually. It's some sort of city building game, but it looks like a really light one. 30 to 60 minutes. So, questions. All right. What is your favorite and least favorite part of the teach?
I guess my favorite part of the teach is, I guess this is about teaching games, so I'm going to answer in that way, but my favorite part of teaching games is just actually getting people to play the game and bring them into the atmosphere of the game. I really like that. My least favorite part is when people are not listening to what I'm saying and then ask a lot of questions about things I have already spoken about. So
I am pretty much in agreement there. Jonathan says, Tom, you were excited with Escape Tales Low Memory. Did you get an opportunity to play through it? And what did you think? I played through the first third of it. I've not played through the whole thing yet. I'll let you guys know when I do. Let's see. This is an interesting question, I guess. Chad says, I just played my first game of viticulture. How many years do your typical games take? I have no idea. But Melissa, do you keep track of that sort of thing? Like how many rounds a game takes? A game that has rounds until it finishes. I don't normally keep track of that.
I don't usually keep track of that either. I mean, I might really just keep track of like how long a game takes, like a couple hours or whatever, but not necessarily how many rounds it took.
What's your favorite video game console of all time?
Great question. I'm really mostly a PC player. I play on the computer a lot, which is, I guess, my favorite console. But if I had to pick a legitimate console, probably the PlayStation 3 as of right now. I never got the PlayStation 4, but the PlayStation 3 was really cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think I like playing it on the computer a lot, and the iPad, but right now it's not even close. It's the Switch. The fact that I can take the two controllers and just sit however I want, I like sit on the couch like this, one hand here, one hand stretched out, and I'm still playing, and I like that. I don't like having to hunch over for a video game controller. And then
the Switch is really good.
Now, a follow-up, what's your favorite video game of all time?
Good question. I guess for right now it would probably have to be League of Legends, only because I've played that for so many years, and it's actually brought my brother and a friend of ours even closer together, just playing this video game together for the past, 5 years or so. So I'm going to go with League of Legends for now.
Well, now I got some questions here because I've not met any League of Legends players, even though I know there's like a billion of them. Do you find, like, I've heard a lot of complaints that the community is really hardcore. Like, if you jump in, you don't, it's like jumping in the deep end of the ocean. Is that true?
I suppose, yeah, although you have to level up to 30 before you could actually really start playing competitively in a ranked season. And yes, you're going to find toxic players and whatnot, but I usually just mute everybody and play without seeing what they're saying. So
Oh, I didn't know you could
that's
do
what I
that.
do.
So,
Hmm.
so you're ranked?
I am ranked and I'm very, very bad at the game.
Oh. Okay, well, oh, that's interesting. Did you play Mechs vs. Minions then when that came out?
I did, yeah, right. The Wave 1 came out and I bought that immediately and we love it. Me and my group, we've played through almost the whole thing, but then other campaigns got in the way. But it
Yeah.
is really good. We love it.
There's definitely a lot of
Yeah.
campaigns out
So,
there now. Man, you're getting all kinds of pop
yes.
culture. Do you read comics?
I do read comics. Yeah. I read um Marvel stuff, Dark Horse, DC, um Vertigo, all that stuff.
Wow. Wow. What's your favorite comic?
Um, Probably I've really been liking I guess my favorite comic is Saga by Brian K. Vaughan. He that's really, really good. But I also really enjoy Thor a lot and Batman.
Well, I've never heard of Saga before. So let's pull this up here on the screen and take a look at it. Eh, what's it about?
It's a sci-fi space thing where there's an all-out racial war going on between the different I guess alien races. But it's kind of a Romeo and Juliet thing happening too, because these warring nations, there's one person from each nation who they fall in love, and now they're sort of on the run with their daughter.
Hmm.
And it's just told through sort of her viewpoint of what's going on and her growing up in that type of atmosphere.
I'll have to give that one a whirl at some point. All right. What's the most difficult game to teach? Well, they said Lisboa or on Mars, but maybe it's not one of those two.
Uh, any game that I think has a lot of intertwining rules. So anything that you kind of have to explain a lot before you can really get into the game, such as probably Scythe is a pretty difficult one, I think. Um, can't think of many off the top of my head, but usually anytime a system intertwines like a lot of different mechanics, so you have to know this thing before you could
Right.
understand this and all that stuff.
I'm trying to think what the hardest game to teach would be. Feudum would be pretty hard. Uh, well, any Lacerda game probably. Renee wants to know, where do our last names come from? Any interesting stories about your family trees?
Um, yeah, so my last name, so the farthest back I know is that my grandfather was Romanian, but he moved to Turkey, and my father was born and raised in Turkey. He came here when he was like 21, but that's the lineage I know about Makak.
I,
Might be Romanian.
I know even less. I'm pretty sure Vassal is short for Wasylinski, which was shortened to Wassel and then changed to Vassal. I'm not sure exactly. I'm either Czech or Polish
Okay.
or mixture. My grandfather was adopted, which makes things tricky. So, not really sure. Not to mention, pretty much all my relatives are dead. And it's harder to find stuff out that way. Let's see, All Board Gamer says. I don't mean that to sound negative. I'm good. I don't really care if I know where I come from. Melissa, what's the most obscure game you've ever taught?
Obscure? I don't know. I guess obscure. I don't know if I really even play all that many obscure games, but recently, and this is just because it's the most recent memory, I taught what's it called? The Bloody Inn, uh, which is deceptively difficult to teach, I found, because I've been trying to teach it to a couple of people, and they cannot wrap their heads around it for some reason. And I think it's because I'm not explaining it properly, but I will figure it out, and hopefully a Teach the Teach will come out about that.
All right. Tom, in your top 10 enemies of gaming, how comes nobody mentions downtime? Or does downtime not bother you? Melissa, your thoughts? Downtime. I didn't mention downtime because I mentioned already that people who take too long to play the game were on the list. And that's where most of the downtime for me comes from. Games give downtime. There's a lot of downtime in some games, but I don't mind as much. It's just when one player takes more time than everybody else combined does, that just feels very selfish to me. Like if we play an hour game and you played for 30 minutes of that hour, well, it's never an hour game. It's like a 3-hour game, and you played for an hour and a half. That should bother you a bit, I would think. But I don't like downtime in games. Games have long downtimes, but it's usually a player problem or a teacher problem.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's usually coming from AP, but yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of downtime, but usually during that downtime, I'm thinking about what I'll be doing. I know my brother Justin can't stand it. If it takes like 5 minutes, it's too much for him, but I don't think I mind it as much as he does.
When you talked about what was played at Dice Tower West, Root was nowhere on the list. What happened there? I don't know, actually. I don't have the stats in front of me here. I know Root got played a lot. It was on the hot games table, so that might be why it wasn't played as much. This Justin says your brother sounds like a cool guy, but he spelled your incorrectly. That would be you. Our brother sounds like a cool guy. Maybe he needs to fix his grammar. Possibly, I'm not sure. What character do you like to main in LOL? I'm assuming that's League of Legends. And what's your preferred role?
Yeah.
I don't understand anything that was just asked.
I am a support main. I play with my friend who is the ADC. So we duo bot lane, and I have lately been playing a lot of Nami. I've been liking Nami a lot.
Sure. Me too. Melissa, do you play solo games?
Solo board games? Yeah, sometimes I do. I don't have very many games that are specifically solo, but yeah. Recently I've been playing a lot of Marvel Champions solo, which has been a lot of fun, but I am not turned away by solo games as Mr. Tom Bassel is.
I would never play a solo game. Have either of you been playing the new Animal Crossing?
I have not been.
No, it's all over my
I've been
house.
playing Stardew Valley.
I've not played that one either. Animal Crossing's all over my house. In fact, it's sitting right here, but I have not played it. I'm busy playing Skyrim and saving the world from murderers by murdering them. That is my thing right now. Oh, Saga's one of the best indie books out now, says this person. Well, there you go. Well, we'll need to learn that. Let's see. Well, let's see. People are talking about Saga still. And still talking about Saga. Do you teach board games the way you learn them? What does that mean?
No. The way I learn them, I usually watch Rodney Smith, his How to Plays, but I'll also read the rule book, and usually the way I learn to play a game is I will set up the board, I'll maybe play a couple of rounds by myself or have somebody else, I'll beg them to help me learn how to play a game, and that's really how I learn how to do it. And then I figure out, okay, how could I teach somebody in a way that they could get to it as quickly as possible?
Right. When I learn a game, I'm just reading the rule book straight through. I don't think that's the best way. I'd rather teach people and say, this is how you win. This is what you're trying to do. Here's your actions. Basically. and the
Yeah.
rule books are not written that way.
Yeah.
What's my favorite miniature game? Well, it's actually, for me, it's Battleground Fantasy Warfare. Except it technically doesn't have miniatures; they have cards instead of miniatures. But they are miniatures. It's the same thing. It just uses cards. Tom, I know you don't like solo games much, but have you played more solo games now with all the stuff going on? No. Mostly because I've been playing some computer games and working on video content. And secondly, you can see I have some trapped gamers. So no need to play solo games right now. Are you playing more solo games, Melissa, now? Or no?
I wouldn't say more. I kind of probably about the same because I'll play it randomly solo games.
Do you ever ask or require players to do some homework for a game before coming to game night? Like watch a video, read a player aid, etc.
No, not usually. The only one is Twilight Imperium. IFM his video because it's so good. But then I wind up having to explain things anyway, and sometimes people don't watch it and they just come through, and that's fine too. It's really just to help them. But usually now I don't assign them homework.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that, with possibly the exception, again, of Twilight Imperium. It seems presumptuous, I think. If you're coming to a game night and I sent you something, I said, you need to watch this before you come, it almost would feel, if I got that as a video, I'd be like, do I need to go? I don't want to go somewhere where I'm doing work. I already work. I'm done with homework in my life.
Same.
Let's see here. Favorite 6-player game that's not co-op, party, social deduction, or 7 Wonders? I know Tom would say play 2 games, but enjoying the group interaction and don't have room for 2 tables. There's not a lot of those, actually. Cosmic Encounter. What about you?
Oh, sorry. I would say probably Downforce.
Oh, that's a good one. Downforce is also good. If you Google the name Vassal with Heritage, you will find a family crest image. Yeah, but it's probably not mine. I'll look it up now and see. No. Nothing came up. Vassal name meaning. Family crests. This is not a correct thing. I'll show you guys, but it's not correct. I don't even know what that means. It costs $13.05. There's John Vassal. No, this isn't me. These are other people. Alrighty. But thank you. Let's see. When you learn a new game with your group or family, do you ever do the let's just wing it type of learning, or do you do a deep read and personal play to figure them out first? I know what I do. What do you do?
I usually don't wing it. I will try my best to learn how to play the game beforehand, just because I get too nervous with that stuff. But I know other people in my game group, they'll just wing it and will struggle through it.
I usually wing it, but again, I also warn people that that's what I'm doing. So it's not like they're coming in blind to that. Sometimes I study the rules. Just this past week, I looked over the rules to a fairly, in my opinion, involved game, very popular game that just came out, and I studied it, and still we had tons of rules questions. That really bugs me. Melissa, do you belong?
That'll happen to me a lot. Sorry.
No. I'm the one who's jumping too fast here. Melissa, do you belong to a game group? And if so, what kind of games does your group enjoy?
I guess I do belong to a game group. It's really just a few friends and my siblings. What kind of games? We enjoy a lot of different games. My brother and I were actually just talking about this, where we'll play almost anything: Euro games, Ameritrash, war games, even abstract strategies, all kinds of things. Whatever is, moves us at the time, we'll play it.
Tom, will the game Hate make the top 10 games we hate list? I haven't played Hate, so I wouldn't know. I'd actually debate it over posting the top 10 games we hate list. We've recorded it a few weeks ago. I was like, I don't know if it's positive or not. But in the end, I thought it was silly fun. And hopefully you guys will enjoy it. And one of us picked games that were truly horrific and horrible. And others picked just games that popular and they said weren't good. I'll let you decide who's who. What's one game you were excited to play and teach and ended up being a bomb afterwards?
Robinson Crusoe.
Sorry, Ignacy.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. First of all, I had this game for a while, and I had played it solo, and I loved it. It was very hard, but the theme and everything, it just drew me in, and I was so excited to teach it to my brother and his girlfriend, and it kind of just went meh. It fell flat, and I thought my brother at least for sure would love it because he loves the survival theme in video games. So I was pretty bothered by it, but I will try again with them because I think they'll like it the second time around.
Yeah.
Quite possibly.
But, I don't know. I don't normally try games the second time. If people hate them the first time, I'm like, that game wasn't for them. Of course, I guess if you spend a lot of money on a game, that's problematic because you feel like you wasted it if people hate it the first time.
Right. They didn't hate it. They didn't love it as much as I was hoping.
Let's see here. We need to, let's see here. Have you ever thought of doing game design, Melissa?
Oh, all the time. I feel like if you're a board gamer, you probably at least once have thought about designing a game. But yeah, I have ideas all the time, and then I've even created prototypes for things, and then they get put on the back burner just by other things I'm doing. But I would like to possibly one day design a game. That would be cool.
Of the Elder Scrolls series, are there any games you haven't played, and which one is your favorite or least favorite? I haven't played the first one. And then for me, my favorites are just simply reverse order. Skyrim's my favorite, then Oblivion, then Morrowind, then Daggerfall. Honestly, because they just get better each time. There's things that, there's some cool things. Morrowind had a pretty cool setting. And in Morrowind, you could actually mess up the main quest. Like, you could kill somebody and they're like, you can't win the game now. So then you'd have to go back and fix your saved game. And Skyrim, you can't do that. But I don't know. I just like each one better and better. Let's see. How do you handle people when teaching? People who interrupt you with questions.
I tell them to be quiet. No, I don't know. I'm okay with answering questions. I think I get more annoyed if it's something I've already repeated like 3 times, and then they interrupt me to ask this question for some reason. Usually if I see them like they were on their phone while I was teaching it, but aside from that, I don't know. Usually if they're constantly interrupting me, I might just say like, okay, let's just hold questions for a couple of minutes. Let me just explain this real quick, and then you could go ahead. But normally I don't mind.
Tom, I got Starcadia Quest today. Have you played it? Which do you prefer? I'm going to save both those. Yesterday I played it. And I'm going to save that because I'm going to do a comparison video of the two. But suffice it to say, Arcadia Quest was designed after Arcadia Quest, so they're able to streamline and change things. So I may or may not like it better. Let's see here. Melissa, have you actually played a game with Tom, or have you actually met him?
I've never actually played a game with Tom, but I have met him a couple of times. The first time was at PAX, but he probably doesn't remember. But I was way too shy to say hello. So,
Didn't you help at
but
the booth
I
at
managed
PAX?
to. I did. So this was the second time I went to PAX,
Oh.
and this is when he actually remembers me. And I did meet him there, which was cool. It was a little bit intimidating, but he's very, very tall. I'm very short.
We are very different in height there. You know, I always feel really bad about that. People come up to me and they'll say, I met you at a con, and I try to remember, but it's I don't know. It's really difficult sometimes. If you do something really off the wall, I might remember you. Although there's some people who remember because there were the very creepy things that happened. But for the most part, it's that second, third time you start remembering the same person. Like, oh yeah, I keep seeing this person come by the booth a lot. And then if you end up doing videos on the channel, it's a lot easier. Although,
Yeah, that
even
helps.
then, a few people who've been part of Board Game Breakfast have come up and said hi to me. And I'm like, hi, I'm Tom. Who are you? And then they kind of look at me. And I'm like, oh, wait, I've seen you somewhere before. Yeah, on my own channel. That's not very good of me, but I'm working on it. Energy food preference. How do you keep up your energy without causing a mess? Without causing a mess? What does that mean? You're just like, "Rah," and smashing stuff everywhere? I I drink a cup of tea every morning, and sometimes a cup of hot chocolate during the day, and water keeps my energy up.
Yeah, I tend to drink a lot of water, really. I'm not much of like a coffee person. I'll drink tea sometimes.
Let's see here. Tom, have you ever, or would you ever consider doing a top 10 list of the top 10 games ranked under 10,000 on Board Game Geek? I thought we did do a list like that recently. It might be called underrated games or something. Man, this Justin guy keeps making comments throughout the thing here. All right. Let's see here. Sorry. Lots of people are asking different questions. A lot of these questions have been asked many times, folks, so I'm always looking for different, interesting questions here. A lot of people are talking about Coloma being a good game for 6 players. True. Let's see. First Martian sitting on my table. Oh, well, if you think Robinson Crusoe's hard, First Martians will be even more difficult, for sure. Nick says, hi, Melody, wave at me. Wait, this is a different Nick. Sorry. It's very confusing. All right, what current Kickstarter game are you guys looking forward to releasing the most? Can't say
For
Marvel United.
me,
I'm
I'm
trying
looking forward to Sleeping Gods
That's true.
coming in.
When was Sleeping God supposed to come out?
I think this summer, but who knows?
Yeah, a lot of stuff's being delayed right now, so that's always tricky. I'm gonna look through my
Yeah.
backed games here to see which one I'm excited about. Sleeping Gods definitely is one. I'm excited about. I feel like I just answered this question. Maybe I did. I don't. Almanac was it one I was pretty pumped about. Yeah, I did ask this question because I remember now answering some of these things here. Trudvang Legends. I was going to say Starcadia Quest, but I just got that finally, so I'm pleased about that. What IP characters would you like to see added to the Funkoverse?
Avatar: The Last Airbender, maybe.
Do they have Funko Pops of those? They probably do. It feels like a...
They do. Yeah, they're actually one of the newer ones, I think.
I want Mr. Rogers. I want Baby Yoda. I want... Let's see. What else would I want? I want more of the characters from promotional characters. Like I have Kool-Aid Man. I want the cheetah from Cheetos. I want Captain Crunch.
Okay.
I want the Green Giant. I don't even know why I want that stuff. I just think I find it amusing. All right. Team JL22 gave us a super chat. Thank you. Let's see here. Melissa, what's your favorite worker placement game?
Caverna, if that's a worker placement. Yes.
It is. Melissa, is that a Monopoly thimble on your necklace?
No, it actually has nothing to do with board games, although I get that question a lot. It actually has to do with Peter Pan.
It's been a long... There needs to be a new, good Peter Pan movie that comes out. Like, better than Hook. Much
I
better.
agree, yeah.
Much
Hook was
better than
great.
Hook. Hook is good, but parts of it dragged. And, there was the parts... Like, I don't need a really long skateboarding scene with the Lost Boys.
Yeah.
I think they could have, tightened that part up. Dustin Hoffman as Hook was, I thought, pretty good. But what's better, Nations or Nations the Dice Game? I'll say Nations the Dice Game. Let's see here. Morrowind is the answer? I don't think so. Everyone's saying Morrowind is better. But Skyrim is better than Morrowind. Let's see here. Only solo game I have 1,000 hours in. I really wish some video games would not keep track of the time you play them. Because it's very awkward when you see how much time you've done doing that. Oh, John says, I feel like questions during instructions are a good thing because it means they're engaged in learning the game.
That's true. I think, right, it means that they're listening to you, which is really why I don't mind when people ask me questions. Yeah, it shows that they're engaged. I agree.
I think so. It depends what the kind of question is. But I will say that when I teach somebody and they're on their phone, it may be a very important thing that they're texting at that point in time. But when it's like a 15-minute thing, they're like, oh yeah, sorry, I got to deal with this. And then during the game, they ask a ton of questions. I feel like they could have paused.
Yeah, that's when it gets annoying, for sure.
Let's see. I reviewed Crumbs, and I didn't like the luck involved. Is it likely possible that the publisher would make such a drastic change in the game to fix the luck you mentioned? Highly doubtful. I doubt publishers watch me and go, that's what I'll change in my game. It does seem really weird to me, though, that they missed such a, to me, obvious thing. And again, it might not be me. Maybe I'm the only person who thinks that way. I doubt it. In this game, it's an area control game. Actually, I'll bring it up here on the screen, and people can look at this here. Crumbs. So this is a game in which you are different animals in a park. And you are pigeons or chipmunks. And then you're going to drop crumbs into this park, and they're going to land in different spots. And if you have animals in that spot, then you will get points for each crumb that lands there multiplied by the value of that area. And the values can change. The problem is that you get action points, and you can move, and you can spawn new creatures, and you can do all this. But you do all this before the crumbs are dropped. You do all the moves, you do all your strategy, then you drop the crumbs and they just land randomly anywhere. So it doesn't matter where you move because you don't know where the crumbs are going to go. So all that strategy and stuff seems like a big waste of time. I was really disappointed by this game. But I don't know if they would change it. That's up to them. What's your most memorable board game session?
Oh, most memorable. I guess it was one of them anyway. It was when I played Battlestar Galactica, the board game, with my sister and a couple of our friends. And it turned out that my sister and our friend, they were the Cylons, and I could tell, I knew it. And I turned over to my other friend and I was like, they're the Cylons. And it came down to the wire where pretty much the die roll in the end determined what happened. Me and my friend, who were the human players, we rolled the die to see if we could make that final jump. We did it. We freaked out, jumped up, and we won. So it was cool.
There's a lot of people's best experiences came from Battlestar Galactica for sure. Have you ever been at a Dice Tower event and someone have no idea who this Tom guy is? Oh, that happens often, and that's no big deal. I don't expect it. No one needs to know who I am. That would be really weird if I did expect that. And I always am amused by it, actually, especially if it's a Dice Tower event and someone goes, yeah, and they talk about the Dice Tower. Yeah, I heard it's some reviewing thing. I'm like, yeah, but it's not very good. And sometimes they'll agree, yeah, I heard it's not that good. All right. Let's see here. What's the square root of 471? What kind of question is that? Have you tried playing the new Kickstarter Tabula Games Ikeon and in combination with Miss Thea? That just came out. And I got to go look at the rules now because I did not know you could combine it with Miss Thea. But that would make sense considering how the game was designed, now that I'm thinking about it. I've played it. Review coming soonish. Not this week. Have you played the game Chai? The new tea game.
No, but it looks cool.
Nick says, Melissa, my wife and I love whenever you like our stuff on Instagram. Well, that's cool.
Good. I'm glad. I like your stuff.
When a game has a bunch of cards but doesn't include an insert or anything to hold them, do you do anything to keep them together in the box?
No, unless I make my own inserts. Sometimes I make my own inserts from foam core, or recently I've been getting into 3D printing. But I mean, if it doesn't have its own thing, kind of just throw it in the box and then get mad about it.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me as much because I actually get rid of a lot of inserts. I'll rubber band cards usually. I know it's anathema, but I don't care. Sometimes I put them in bags, but I don't like putting cards in bags as much because when I pull the cards out of the bag, I don't want them to hit the corners of the bag. That really bugs me. There's one cool thing I like is if there's those crayon boxes that Walmart sells every back to school season, and those hold a deck of cards really nicely. And 2 years ago, we managed to get like 500 of them for $0.25 a piece. But this year they did not go below $1, which bugged me because I've run out. What's your... do you have a preference, Melissa, or to a particular style or type of game or specific game mechanism?
I mean, I guess I gravitate towards worker placements. I really like those, although I typically go for any game where the theme is oozing out of it.
Will 7th Concept be a good game to spend hours on a day solo? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Have you started any new TV shows that have caught your interest? New ones. I've been rewatching some old ones. but I don't think I started any new ones.
Yeah, I haven't started anything new either.
Congrats on getting a 3D printer for the Dice Towers. And he plans on having a segment like Roy used to have on Board Game Geek about 3D printer. Well, that will still be Roy's segment because I'm going to have him put the 3D printer together. It's still in the box. I haven't opened it up for a multiple of reasons, the biggest of them being the world has turned upside down. But we will get it together at some point. Let's see. Hook. What people are asking about that. Are you excited for the new Wendy movie coming out later this year? Is there a Wendy movie coming out? Did you know about that?
Wendy?
I think
No.
the Wendy from Peter Pan. Oh, yeah. It's
Oh.
coming out in 2020. It is a 2020 fantasy drama directed by Ben Zeitlin. And it stars a bunch of people who I don't know. It's a reimagining of Peter Pan. No, I really don't know any of these people, and none of them have clickable names on the cast. The director, Ben Zeitlin. What else has he done? Beast of the Southern Wild and Glory at Sea. Okay. Well, I have not. When you teach a difficult game, do you go easy on other players, or do you play to your full potential? Is it different versus close friends versus at a con or meetup?
I'm typically really bad at games, so I don't usually have to go easy on them, for them to beat me. But either way, if I think, or if I feel like I am pretty decent at the game, I won't, just try to murder them in the game. I might try out some sort of different strategy or just kind of have fun with it, because I don't want them to be discouraged.
Well, that's very nice. It depends on who the players are. By that I mean, if it's people I meet at a con or something, I'll go easy on them. I'll explain what I'm doing. That's one way to go easy. I say, I'm doing this because my strategy is to do this later on. Hopefully you don't stop me. But if I'm playing someone at the Dice Tower Retreat, which is usually people who are kind of hardcore into gaming, I'll be a little bit tougher. And if their name is Jason, no mercy, even if they've never played the game before. He's not the only one. Roy also. I have no more mercy for Roy because Roy is ruthless at games. Roy and Jason. Who else am I ruthless towards? I would be to my brothers and sisters for sure. I would be ruthless to... There are various people I've met, but not many. If I play against Jason and Roy, I don't have to be as ruthless because they'll go after each other. Melissa, are you getting attention from game publishers from your teaching videos?
No. A little bit from Stonemeyer Games just recently, but other than that, no, I haven't been doing it for very long, just a few videos so far, but we'll see.
Yeah, these type of things take a while, for sure. People get games, and as time goes by, you get more and more games, possibly. But at the same time, it's hopeful. I always tell people that's not why you should start doing this, because you won't get a ton if you start doing it that way. But as time goes by, it gets better, and more people notice you if you stick with it. We were just talking today in the studio about how many people for the Dice Tower have not stuck with it. People, they come in, they do a few videos, and then they leave, and that's okay. And we were talking about Melissa particularly because she's still doing videos. So you've passed the hurdle. Do you feel like you have to paint your minis before you play the game?
Nope. It takes me forever to paint minis, so then we would never be playing games.
I thought about this because I was looking at the Starcadia Quest stuff, and I was like, man, I would love to have this stuff painted. But who's going to paint it? Not me. I'm not good at painting, and I don't even want to paint. So, nah. If I did paint it, it wouldn't be allowed in the Dice Tower library anymore. I would reject it. What's a good area control game for someone who doesn't normally like area control? I don't understand questions like that. That, to me, is... Oh, well, maybe you have an answer.
Um, I don't know. I mean, for somebody who doesn't like area control, I probably wouldn't play an area control game with them. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this has always bugged me a little bit because people talk about this sort of thing. They're like, my spouse doesn't like abstract games. Is there one they will like? What? No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe, but why are you're like searching for this golden ticket, this thing that doesn't exist, this hope? Um, I don't know. I always feel like we have this hope. We're like, I know you don't like area control games, but I found one you'll like. And then they play it. And they're like, my eyes have been opened. I now like all area control games. Eh. If someone says I don't like deck builders, then I don't play deck builders with them. Period. Let's see here. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Now Roy's answering questions in the comments. Magic tape. Have you ever seen that for cards?
No, I don't know.
Magic tape is like this real thin. It's not tape. It's more like a plastic material, and it kind of you put it around cards. I personally don't like the way it feels, but it does hold cards together, and you can reuse it and stuff. Since you like League of Legends, do you like MOBA arena style board games?
I actually haven't really played any MOBA arena style board
There's
games.
not many.
Yeah, I know like Rum and Bones. I would like to try that. I just haven't gotten around to it really, but yeah, they sound interesting.
Tom, I sent you a list of books. Have you read any of them yet? I have not. I apologize. I'm taking a brief moment, and that's almost a joke, to go back and reread through The Way of Kings trilogy just so I'm prepared for the fourth book when it comes out later this year. Let's see. People, is there a particular game company that you lean towards or seem to have a lot of that company's games because you like them?
Uh, yeah, I guess I probably um I don't know. I recently I've noticed that I really like Emperor's 4 games, so I've been starting to kind of just get a whole bunch of those because they're usually small. Uh, but I don't know. I guess I go for a variety of publishers, probably lean towards like maybe Portal games, things like that.
My publishers consistently change. A publisher that I might really, really like their games, I can kind of lose interest in them as time goes by, or I feel like the publisher has changed. So there's no single. I mean, there's a few publishers of small games, like when Ryan Lockett makes a new game, I just assume it's good as a matter of course. But not always. What's the likelihood of playing with Dice Tower people at a convention? Well, it's depends how many people are at the convention, and depends. I always tell people if you want to play a game with me and you're downstairs at 6 o'clock, or not 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, your chances are pretty high because there's usually like 4 people there, and I'll play a 4-player game. But other than that, it is what it is. You just got to try to catch people at the right time. How is Sam doing? Sam is doing fine. Let's see. What board game would you say best represents you?
Um, I don't know.
This question is meaningless.
I I guess maybe. Yeah, I honestly have no idea how to answer the question which one best represents me. I'll say Caverna because it's my favorite.
Oh, so that's just our favorite game? So I'm like Le Havre. No, I'm not. I would not even. No. I need to think of a loud, obnoxious game. Happy Salmon. Alrighty. William says, I usually decide if I'm going to paint a game after I know I'm going to keep it and play it a lot. Well, that makes sense, right? Because why would you... I just cleansed a few games from the library and Dice Tower library, and one of them was a painted game, and it bothered me because I like painted miniatures, but the game is terrible. Like, awful. So, Let's see here. People are still talking about area control. Oh, Elena asked us specifically because she wants to like area control, but she can't find one. Well, that makes more sense. If you're asking for yourself, then that makes more sense. But I don't know. I don't think so much about game mechanisms when I play a game. I just think, hey, this game looks fun. I don't know. There's some game mechanisms that get me excited, but do you think about the game mechanisms or do you think about the theme?
Personally, I think a lot more about the theme. That's what I gravitate towards.
Yeah, it's a tough thing here. At what point do you have enough dice?
Never.
Yes, I'm in agreement there. You can never have too many dice. You could use dice for other things. Dice are important. I like how some people are saying El Grande for area control. El Grande is the area control game. People are asking what printer I got, and I can't remember what the name of the printer was. I asked Roy for recommendations, and then I got it. Christian says there's not many good mobile board games because they're so fiddly. Reasons why they're video games. I agree. When someone told me about MOBA the first time, I'd never heard of MOBA in my life, and I guess I should have. Like, I never heard of Riot or League of Legends, and someone told me, and they tried to explain it to me. They said, "Listen, you have these lanes, and these guys run at the enemy, and then they get killed." And I said, "Why?" And they said, "That's because that's the way it is." I said, "That doesn't make any sense at all." They're like, "Listen, just shut up and listen." And they kept explaining that you had these little dudes who would run, and then you had heroes who could do cool things. And I kept asking why the little guys just ran at the enemy. Maybe you should just sit there and build up your base and just be defensive like World of Warcraft. Like Warcraft. And they said, that's not how mobile works. And now, years later, I still don't understand it. Why do you have these little dudes who just run at the enemy? What does that even mean?
They're there for support, defense, and love.
And love? Alrighty. Have ever considered making a reboxing video? How do you put things back in the box? This is a question we run into all the time, because I'll open the game and I'm like, how do I get all this back in? Especially if I add upgraded components or the expansion. Let's see. Is there a box design that's worse than Lords of Waterdeep? So Lords of Waterdeep has that half box lid where it's easy to fall apart. Do you have a box that you hate?
Forbidden Island because it's tin.
I just got the new... what's the game that's Skyrim but in the dystopian future? You go around and it has the mutants and stuff. It's just like Skyrim. What's that called? Why is my mind going blank? Bethesda makes it. It's I don't know why I can't think of the name of this game here. But anyhow, my mind has gone completely blank. Anyhow, so this game comes out with the bunker. Fallout. Okay, so Fallout, the bunker game. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of Fallout. Anyway, so Fallout, the bunker game, came from Fantasy Flight, and I'm going to review it soon, but it came in a tin. And that just bugs me, because I know if there's any problems, if you dent the tin at all, it's really annoying. So it's really because this is a board game based on Fallout Shelter, which is a app game. It's not actually Fallout. I've not played Fallout Shelter. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Have you ever mistakenly bought a game that you already owned?
I don't think so. No.
Sure.
No.
Never happened here. It happens now more with the library because I don't carry the library list on me at all times. And I go, oh, we need that game for the library. And then I find out it's already in the library. But I'm trying to be more careful about that. Let's see here. What game did you miss purchasing that's now rare and hard to get?
Oh, I guess the first thing that comes to my mind is actually an expansion. I never got any of the expansions for Battlestar Galactica, the board game. Bummer, but what are you gonna do?
That's also on my list. I had them, but I got rid of them, and they're really expensive now. I mean,
Yeah.
ridiculously expensive to get the expansions to Battlestar. I got someone gave me a copy of the main Battlestar Galactica to stick in the library, but it is expansionless. Any other games that you'd
Mm.
missed out on?
I mean, I'm sure. Being that I got into the hobby just a few years ago, pretty much any of the older games are out of print now. I guess it's mostly expansions that I'm thinking of, like even the Arkham Horror expansions for the second edition game. I never got any of them, so
There was a lot of them though. I wouldn't even
yeah.
know. Like if someone asked me, all their names sound the same. The only one I remember is the King in Yellow, because that one for some reason it stuck with me. But if someone said a name, Arkham Horror, I'd be like, I guess that's a good one. I don't know. So, well, we're coming to the end of this, folks. So before we jump off, a few things. Tomorrow we'll be doing this again. We're doing this every night. So different Dice Hour people will be doing them different nights. You'll see who each time, and with various guests. And thank you, Melissa, for coming on board. We appreciate it. And watch her
Yeah,
stuff.
thank you.
Watch her stuff on the
Yeah.
Dice Tower. Tomorrow I'm starting a new show, Corner to Corner. This is me and Rado. Richard Ham from Rado Runs Through. People liked our top 10 list that we did at Dice Tower West this year. And so we're going to be doing a show that will eventually be less often. But right now, since we're all stuck together, we're going to be doing it twice a week. Once on my channel, that's tomorrow on Tuesday. And then once on his channel on Friday. So it'll be a little bit like this. Some feedback from you. We'll be talking about things. We'll run through topics. It will be fun, and we'll make it short, which is a lie, I just said. So I'm excited about that. We hope you guys join us tomorrow. And let's see here. One last question before we jump out here. People are... Melissa, have you ever started playing a game that as you played was so bad that you just stopped and didn't finish it?
Yeah, when we did, I was playing Keyforge and I wanted to see, can we play it 3 players just to see how it would go? And we kind of tried this thing where we house ruled. Maybe if we use like King of Tokyo rules with it, I don't know what we were doing, but it was so bad. We were like, we just started laughing and we just stopped. It was it was unplayable.
Wow. I never even thought of trying that. Keyforge with 3 players. Well, go figure. Alrighty. Well, thanks again, folks, for watching. I will see you all tomorrow, hopefully. We'll be we have lots of videos that we already posted and recorded for this week. So until next time, I'm Tom Vassell,
I'm Melissa Makak.
and we'll see y'all later.